Okay, so thank you. In Nun Zayin Amar Aleph. So again, we're in the machloikis between Rabba and Rav Yosef, whether a shomer aveda, right? A guy finds a lost object. He has to hold on to it until he returns it, or till he comes picks it up, whatever it is. So the question is, what's his status? What's his responsibility as a shomer? Is he a shomer chinam, in which case he has very little responsibility, or is he a shomer sacher, in which case he has a lot more responsibility, right? So Rabbi Yosef said he's a shomer sacher, Rabba said he's a shomer chinam. So they're asking questions back and forth on each other. So far we had three kashas. We're up to the fourth. It's about 1, 2, 3, about 8 lines up from the bottom of Nun Zayin Amar Aleph. Right, because we did part of it last night. So Amalei Abaye Rav Yosef. So Abaye told Rav Yosef. Again, Rav Yosef is the one that holds. Rav Yosef is the one that holds that it's shomer sacher. The shomer aved, the shomer chinam. Tell me, you don't hold that a shomer aved is a shomer chinam? Amar Reb Chia bar Abba. Amar Reb Yochanan Atayin Tainis Gana Baveda. So let's say a guy had an aveda, and he said it got stolen. Then it comes out that the guy was a liar. So what does he do? He has to pay double. Right? Now the only time you pay kefel is if you would have been potter. If you would have been chayiv, then you don't pay kefel because you would have paid right away. Meaning, if you were a shomer sacher, so you're chayiv gnei baveda. So if the shomer aveda is looked at like he's a paid watchman, as they call it, and then he goes and he says, "Oh, it got stolen," so he's paying anyway. So there's no kefel. There's only going to be kefel. There's only going to be kefel if he's potter. So if he's a shomer chinam, he's potter from stealing. Right? So you see, it's saying that he has to pay kefil. Again, shomer aveda says, "I found your object, but guess what? It got stolen." Then we find out that he's a liar, so he has to pay kefil. Right? So you see that he's a shomer chinam, not a shomer sacher. Like that is a Isak died for shomer sacher. Isak died to shomer sacher. If he says the shomer sacher, am I mishalim to shume kefil? Why should he be kefil? Karnaboy Shlomi has to pay the Karen. Right? He only has to pay Karen. Because he has to pay Karen means the Karen? Principal, thank you. If he's a shomer sacher, he has to pay the principal because it got stolen. So I'm going to tie and Tinus list the Mizuya. When he tied it, he didn't tie it that Stam got stolen. He tied it that it got armed robbery. Armed robbery is considered, even for a shomer sacher, armed robbery is potter, because that's considered einus. Einus, thank you. Einus is a shomer sacher is potter from einus. Right, so Tainus listed museum, he would be potter. So if he lied about that, then he could still be a shomer sacher and still be chayiv kefil. So Amalei said to him, list the museum, Gazlan who? List the museum is considered a Gazlan. A Gazlan doesn't pay kefil. Right, we all know the difference between a Gazlan and a Ganav, although I can't ever remember which one is which, but right, there's a Ganav and a Gazlan. A Ganav is he steals at night. Gazlan is straight in front of everybody. So Gazlan does not pay kefil. Right? A Ganav does. Right? Because a Ganav is trying to hide from people. So he says, list the Mizuyin is a Gazlan. There shouldn't be kefil there. Right? Because list the Mizuyin also, they're scared of people. That's why they're armed. So Amalei told him, Shani, list the Mizuyin, keep the mikra, the inchi Ganavu. List the Mizuyin, no, since they hide from people, I look at them like they're Ganov. Actually,
why did we say that they want to scare people? Why did we say that means they're scared of people? They want to scare people. They don't want to have any opposition to what they're doing.
You mean, according to the first Shita, he's a list of Mizuyin is a Goslin, right? And a Goslin is straight out in your face, right? So that's what an armed robber.
But he has a weapon, right?
He has a weapon.
That's all. He just there's nobody says no to him. Nobody. It's a because I mean, if the guy's willing, he's willing to shoot people. So it's a cakewalk for him. Everybody gives him their watch and their wallet, and that's it.
Right.
Nobody wants to be. Nobody's a hero with a guy with a gun.
So that's what it's saying, right? It's saying that.
So what you said, he's afraid of people, so he has a gun. He's not afraid of people. This guy's a chai. He's not afraid of anybody, but he just wants everybody to be afraid of him. That's all.
I think isn't the difference that who he's hiding from? The list of Mizuyin use the weapons to get what they want, to steal what they want. The weapons are only for the people that they're trying to get from. From everyone else, they hide. Otherwise, they'll call
who's everybody else?
The people who live between their home and the home they're stealing from. They don't want people to see them on the way. They want the weapons to threaten the people they're stealing from.
They don't.
And everyone else.
People. I watch different movies.
You don't hear bank robbers today. You don't hear of bank robbers today going with submachine guns through the streets until they reach the bank.
They have the guns in their car. They don't walk around the street. Have a getaway car. You would never drove a getaway car, Gershon.
That's minter mianchi. That's what it means.
The way you drive, you should have been a getaway driver.
That's what it means, minter mianchi. They hide from people, not the people they're stealing from. The first shot is that since they openly steal from the people they're stealing from, that's Gezela, not Geneva. The second one holds that since they hide from everyone else, they don't want everyone else to see their weapons or that they're going to steal something, that's called Geneva.
I hear what you're saying, but I don't hear it. I'm sorry.
Meaning, I mean, that's, the second shot is saying that since they, I don't know. Are they hard? The reason why they list them as Zuyin is because otherwise nobody's going to listen to them, or is it because they're wimps? What's the difference? No, meaning, are they doing it because they're scared of people? The etzem, they're wimps. They're just scared of people, right? Or is it pshat that no, it just makes their life easier? You know what I mean? An armed robber is not as big a man as a guy who's not an armed robber, correct? That's what Rabbanan, I think. Well, I mean, I go into a guy's house to steal something without any sort of weapons. I'm a bigger man than the guy with the weapons. No?
Yeah, but you're the one who's hiding from the homeowner too. You don't want anyone to see you. Okay, the one with the weapons doesn't really care. He just won't get to steal what he wants if people know on the way. They'll call the cops on him. They'll never get to where he wants to go.
Right. Fine. Okay, whatever it is. Yeah. Fine. So whatever he says, Shani Yom, list the Mizuyin, keep it the mitzvah of the inches, since they hide from people, they're ganovim. So since they ganovim, they pay double. So it's a machlokes where they pay double. Fine. Esvei, fourth kasha or fifth kasha, I lost track. On to the base now. So now we need a little bit of background here. Here, this is talking about the Isser of Shlichus Yad. There's a whole long taisus of exactly what it seems like the Gemara is picking it up in the middle of a Gemara, right? And it's trying to disprove a Kal V'chomer. Right, so what's the Kal V'chomer? So Kal V'chomer is Shlichus Yad. Meaning if a shomer uses something that he's not supposed to that he's watching, then automatically he becomes chayiv and everything. Right? So the Gemara or the Taisus wants to say what Taisus brings the Gemara. But he wants to say a kal b'chaymer, right? By a shomer chinam who doesn't have to pay for anything, but if he uses it, then he does. So shomer sacher who has to pay for a lot of things, then of course if he uses it, he'd have to pay. So what do you need a pasuk for? The Gemara says no, loy imamr. It's not a kal b'chaymer because imamr b'shomer chinam shekain b'sham tashum kefa. There is a chumrah about shomer chinam. Maybe the reason why shomer chinam has to pay if he uses the item that he's watching is because he pays kefir, right? Meaning if he lied and he pays kefir, Shomer doesn't pay kefir. Even if you say that list of Mizuyin is a ganav, you could have a shomer sacher paying kefir, right? If the shomer sacher says that the thing was stolen from him with list of Mizuyin, that makes him a real einus, and he would be potter. When Melav ends up being chayiv, he has to pay kefil, right? So nimtza b'shem esachar b'sham tashum kefil, the tainus list of Mizuyin, with the tain of list of Mizuyin. So Malay, so said the Hachi Kamma. This is what the Brisa means to say. Lo yamar b'shem echinam shekain b'sham tashum kefil b'chol tanaisa. In every single taina that the Shem Echinam is going to do, he's going to have to pay kefil. Tana b'shem esachar she'ena b'sham tashum kefil. The shomer sacher is not going to pay tashum kefil. Ella b'toyin tainas listim mizuyin. Only when he says a taina of listim mizuyin. Right? So meaning we're saying that a shomer chinam, anytime he denies something, he's going to automatically pay kefil. Shomer sacher only in a specific case. Okay. Next kasha eitzvei. So it says that by a shoyel, right? So a shoyel is the most upright, right? Because he gets the most things, he gets everything for free. So it says v'nishbar oimes. If it breaks or it dies, only elashvura umesa. This is only tells you that it's broken and it dies. Geneva aveda minayim. What about geneva aveda? A shomer sacher who does not have to pay if it gets broken or it dies, meaning if something natural happens to it, right? So then he's potter chayiv b'gneva aveda, but in gneva aveda he's chayiv. So shoyel shechayiv b'shvuru meisa, shoyel who's chayiv if it gets broken or it dies, ein edin shechayiv b'gneva aveda. It shouldn't be a kal v'chaymer. It's chayiv b'gneva aveda, right? A pasha the kal v'chaymer. A shomer sacher who doesn't have to pay if the thing dies, but has to pay gneva aveda. So a shoyel, right, who does have to pay if it dies, avada is going to have to pay if it gets stolen. And this is a kal v'chaymer that has no kasha. So Gemara says v'isach that the list of mizuyin ganavu, but if you hold that list of mizuyin is a ganav, and there would be kefil, amay ein alav tshuva. Why is there no tshuva? You can't learn out kal v'chaymer because maybe shomer sacher is more chomer because he has to pay kefil for the tainus list of mizuyin. If he would ever say that there was an armed robber, he would have to pay kefil. He says that having to pay Keren, the principal, without a shvua is actually better than paying for kefil with a shvua. Meaning, the Gemara is saying, the Gemara thought in the kasha. Now, the Gemara thought in the kasha that kefil is, you have to pay kefil, that's a chumrah, right? If somebody lies and he has to pay back double, that's a big chumrah. But again, like we said on Amar Aleph, it's really the only time you have to pay kefil is when you were exempt from something, right? But if you were chayiv in something, then you would never have to pay kefil. Right? Like again, if the guy says that, oh, it got stolen from me, well, okay, you're chayiv. If you're chayiv to pay the principal, you're chayiv to pay the principal, right? It's so the Gemara now is answering, they're saying somebody who has to automatically pay a principal is more chomer than somebody who would have to pay kefil. Because right off the bat, right when you claim that this thing was stolen, you automatically become chayiv. Kefil is only the next step. Kefil is only the step that comes later. Right, so therefore, there's no kasha, and you could still make the kavachayim because keren, something that pays keren without a shvua, is a lot more chomer than somebody paying kefil without a shvua. So where it says lema misayel, let's say this is a proof. A guy rents a part from his parents. The nignu and it got stolen. And the guy says, "I'll pay." And I'm not going to swear. And then the ganav is found. So you have to pay the kefil to the seicher. Again, here's what's going on. The guy rents a parah and it got stolen. And what happens is you make the shomer make a shvua that it really got stolen, and that's it. Then he's done. Right? So then he finds a ganav, so then he pays the shomer kefil to the seicher. Right? So meaning because why the rent what?
He pays the kefil to
right.
who?
He pays the kefil to the renter, not to the owner, because the renter
is not the balabas.
Now he did. Right, so that's the point of the Gemara. He became the balabas since he took the achrayas.
You become a balabas if you take achrayas?
Yeah. Well, he paid for it. Again, the seicher. I think that's the way it goes. Yeah, the seicher is chayav g'nev and aved. Right. The thing gets stolen. He comes to Ben and says the thing got stolen. So Ben says, okay, we're going to make you make a shvur that it got stolen. He says, I ain't making no shvur. He says, I'd rather pay for it. So now he pays for it. Or he promises to pay for it. Either one. Now he becomes the owner because he paid for it. It gets found. It goes to him because he already paid the owner. Right? But then they find the guy that found it, that stole it, he's got to pay the kefil. Who gets the kefil? The shomer, because since he took the payment on himself. Right. So anyway, so Memela Savrua Karab Yehuda. So we think that he held like Rabbi Yehuda, that a seicher is like a paid watchman, right? We have a machlokes. We have this a couple of times. A seicher. There's 4 watchmen: shomer chinam, shoyel. Those are the 2 extremes. Shomer chinam's pater and everything. Shoyel's chayim and everything. And in the middle, you have seicher and shomer sacher. So a shomer sacher is a paid watchman. He's somewhere in the middle. Machlokes is whether a seicher is a shomer chinam or he's a nice sacher. So the Gemara is saying now that he holds that he's a shomer, a seicher is a nice sacher, like a paid watchman. When the Ketani V'Amarini Mishalim and in Ishma, this that we said he pays and he doesn't swear. That sounds like he'd be able to pater himself with a shvua. What's the case? Must be talking about where he said it was a list of mezuyim. You see, they has to pay kefil. Shmamino list of mezuyim ganavu. So we hear from this that list of mezuyim is a ganav. Right? So you see that list of mezuyim is a ganav. The Gemara has 3 pshat on why this is not necessarily true. Amri, Misvaz Rabbi Yehuda to Amar Seicher. Who says he holds like Rabbi Yehuda that a renter is like a paid watchman? Maybe he holds like Rameir. Amar Seicher Kashemer Chinam Dami, that a Seicher is like a Shomer Chinam. Right? And the male, you have no proof. Maybe the reason why he has to pay kefil is because he's shomer chinam, not because he's a seicher. That's one term. See by same like we had a few times. Get a machlef Rabbi Baravu of a tani seicher kates in the shalim. Like Rabbi Baravu swapped it out and said, "How does a seicher pay?" Rameir like a shomer sacher. Rameir says like a shomer sacher. Yehuda like a shomer chinam. Yehuda says it's a shomer chinam. And a third shot why it's not a raya. Zayramar hachamay askinon. The Toyin Tainus listed Mezuyim, where he tained that it was listed Mezuyim. The Nimtza listed Sheina Mezuyim. And then it was found out that it was listed Sheina Mezuyim, which he's chayiv for. Meaning, yes, it's a Seicher, and he's potter for listim mezuyin, but he lied about that, and it ended up being that it was listim that are not mezuyin. He still has to pay. He still have to pay kefa, right? Yeah. Okay. Hope that was a little.
That's an interesting difference. How far is a
Up over
person
here.
who's being
What?
robbed? How far is a person who's being robbed supposed to identify who the robbers are? He thought it was listed Mizuya.